What do you want?
Cool. So this is okay, guys. I'm about to order a meal, yeah. I told Andrew, yeah, because
Hi, just give me a moment, please.
No worries, that's fine.
obviously, is there a budget?
Is there a budget? Just behave, bro. That's what you're about. Is there a budget? I'm gonna.
Like how young? Like obviously, are you having anything though?
I'm not having anything.
You're not having anything?
No, I'm not gonna have anything whatsoever. What did I have?
Really?
No. Yeah. I'm not gonna have anything.
So maybe you look like a bad guy though, Andrew, bro. Because you know what I was gonna get you, if I'm being honest.
What?
I was gonna get the. That's actually my favorite burger though.
What is it?
The Philly stack thing.
Okay, cool.
The meal. But then I was gonna get some nuggets with it. Is that rude? If it is, let me know.
No, just go on.
No, is it rude?
No, it's
no, is it rude? No, because I feel like some people, no. I feel like some people can take it to a max, bro. Like, for real.
You get the thing and get your nuggets.
Okay, cool.
You can eat that and the nuggets.
Nah, that's just for the conversation. We got a journey, bro. That's for both of us.
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, really? Okay, since when?
Since 2018.
Cheese, please.
As a meal?
Yeah.
Medium or large?
Medium, please, with
What drink for that?
Oasis.
Anything else?
And then nuggets.
What?
Nuggets, please.
How many nuggets? 6, 4?
He's getting 6.
Yeah, 6. Yeah, because I'm
6.
violating.
Me, you, and the driver, we gotta get this photo together. We gotta get this selfie. Oh, open it. Have you got a bag? A bag for fucking what? You grocery shopping or something? You doubling up on these bags? I was like, wow, women are incredible. I've been out here every single weekend since I've been doing this, picking up people who have had amazing nights. Off, mum, I'm sleeping. I'm staying here. Leave me alone. I mean, I've always said this anyway, that this thing has killed me, but I can see I've aged. I look at my beard, mad grey hairs. It is mad.
So, I feel like there's a conversation in that because I feel like, in terms of like, let's say for example, young footballers or just in general, like you were saying, a lot of people judge by cover. I don't think as a young man, when I was younger, I was someone that was just taking heed to. I feel like a lot of the relationships that I've been or under coaches or just in general mentors, I've always had to like prove a point per se.
Okay.
Some people just had it naturally, like I was saying, for example, just had that natural born talent and stuff. And because I wasn't that per se, it was like, we don't really know what we're dealing with here.
Okay, cool, thank you.
And I think with that, it's like, where I always felt like because you know what, you know how they say you don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It's almost like I always knew that I had that drive and that, you know, but I was always someone that was genuinely overlooked. And I think that's why I actually got into the whole speaking thing, because I know I'm somebody, if I didn't speak, I wouldn't have been noticed type beat. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, cool, that's very interesting.
And that's where it kind of got like, or raising my hands and stuff, or like, let's say for example, if I'm on a trial, as a CB, who at a CBDM, I knew I had to vocalize myself.
Okay.
Maybe my natural talent wasn't enough for me, where it could have been enough for somebody else. But those that it was enough for didn't fulfill what the coaches thought they would fulfill for them. So a lot of people that were very much focused on like, or given that treatment or that hands-on, let me take your hand in, we want you to go far. It didn't amount to, they didn't amount to what it was supposed to be. But I always felt like it would have been, it was like that talent and that hard work thing, do you know what I mean? That coincide. So that's definitely something for me. Which is why sometimes these questions, they really bite it. Do you know what I mean? 100%.
Okay, cool.
Because you don't just get this drive and resilient from anywhere, do you?
No, you don't.
You don't. So,
You don't. That's really interesting. We'll wait for your food and then we'll get into the next question.
Sponsored by McDonalds. Thank you. That's what I need, bro. But yeah, I think that's the honest truth, if I'm being honest.
No, I find it interesting. Really, the reason why I say I find it interesting is that you're essentially saying that, like, if you don't open your mouth, then sometimes it's going to be very, very difficult for you to be noticed. But I think the way you, the example you gave, you weren't saying that you didn't have talent but for the talent that you may have lacked, you felt that in being vocal or opening your mouth, it became important, in which you then decided to go into what will be speaking publicly. Am I right in saying so? I don't know if I've worded that correctly.
No, I know what you're saying, 100. I just feel like it didn't. The talent. That's what I will say. Just to adjust what you said, was more like the talent I had wasn't enough. That I needed the vocal side of it.
Sorry, thank you, because I think that is yeah, I just find that really interesting.
Yeah,
I find that really interesting.
there were guys that I very much played with, grew up with, and they just, I don't know, it's just like they had it. It was like there was like a light on them. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, but you know you're a worker. Do you get what I'm saying? And then the older you grow, it's just like, child, like, okay, what is it I don't have that these guys have, or what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing?
But you're not talking about just football, are you? Or are you talking about football?
It started off with football, for
Of
sure.
course.
And then obviously over time now, but obviously, but my transition from it was very much football and then straight into speaking.
Cool, because
So the majority of it would have to be football for sure.
But the reason why I say that is because I forget where I was going. Is that I just find it really mature in that I feel you had that outlook from quite a young age, in that you felt the need that you needed to become a bit maybe vocal you needed to become a bit more vocal to be noticed, or again back to what you said, and I think I'm probably going to say it incorrectly.
Right.
Like talent isn't enough, and you need a bit more than that in order to achieve things. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes people assume that your talent will be enough.
Yeah.
When it takes more than that in order to become successful. Do you know what I mean? It takes consistency, and it takes hard work, and it takes dedication. And I guess for you to kind of like pick up on that quite early, I just think it's really, really interesting. And then transition and use that into going into something else. But at the same time, some of the things that you mentioned as to being able to look at maybe some of your colleagues or your friends or even your family and just notice, okay, cool, what has he got that I don't have?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And maybe even like at this moment in time, like 5-10 years ahead, you might be able to look at those individuals and think to myself, actually, maybe they did rely too much on their talent.
Yeah.
And that's not the reason why.
I agree, and I give two flips of the coin to that. I can't say that's fully their fault, because their talents, they got congratulated for that.
Yeah.
And so when you're congratulated, you're almost been put on a pedestal that if I'm doing this, what else more do I need to do? So there are two elements, because why would I need to work hard if I'm here? Well, do you understand what I'm saying? Why do I need to work? And that is what it is. So like I was saying, a lot of coaches, let's say for example, in the notion of football, coaches would give them that light, you know, they're doing well, they're scoring or whatever it is. What more do I need to do than the talent I have? It's people that didn't get the light that need to work harder, because we're trying to get to that light. Does that make sense?
Of course.
And so I wouldn't say, obviously, for me to say, okay, cool, it's a mature approach, it was my only approach. I couldn't do what the 99 were doing. I could not just do what they were doing.
Or even the 1%.
Or even the 1%, yeah, so
the
forgive
1%.
me, I couldn't just move the same way. I had to, because my maximum was their minimum. So you're trying to manage that work, do you know what I'm saying? So it became such a natural thing that I didn't know I was doing it. But now work rate is just something that's now been imposed, do you know what I'm saying? Because it's not something that you just do. But I know, because he's just naturally talented and he just got this God-given gift, I need to do the double. And so you grow up so much just doing double that all you now know is double. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what people think is hard work, I'm like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like,
I'm letting you go because you're saying a lot of good things, all right? No, the reason why I'm saying that, the reason why I'm saying that, and the reason why I'm saying that, and what I wanted to say was...
You got a cup holder there, because I don't want to...
Yeah, I do. It's
If it's a lot, I'll just keep it here, it's no stress.
You know, if you give it to me.
Because if I spill this on your nice card.
Cool, thank you. All right, cool. So no, what I was gonna say was that what's this person gonna do? All right, cool. So no, what I was gonna say is that like oh, you made me forget because you were laughing.
No.
No, I know what I wanted to say. I think what I wanted to say is that I think everyone's a bit more aware that you now need to do a little bit more
100%.
in order to become successful. Do you think the bar's been raised? And given what you do, so obviously I do something completely different to what you do, although I do more than one thing. So like you were saying something earlier in regards to you're not just a mathematician. You don't just do English lit, etc., etc. So you find it very difficult to understand the notion that someone can say that you do law, for example.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're more than what might be one thing.
Yeah.
And I'm more than a driver. I do several different things. You know what I'm saying? And sorry, I think what I want to say do you think the bar's been raised? I was going to say something else, but do you think the bar's been raised?
I feel like the bar's been raised for a few different reasons, though, and I feel like there's an economic factor to it for sure. You can't just live off your, let's say, 9 to 5. Everyone's a side hustle.
Okay.
So I think in that element, the bar's been raised because people are finding different elements of themselves that they just want to enjoy life now instead of just living by surviving. That's what I definitely say. In terms of the bar being raised, it's kind of interesting because I feel like the bar's being raised because now social media we have access to, so all of a sudden everyone's working hard. Everyone's, let's say now, everyone's starting calisthenics, or everyone's in the gym, so you now feel like, okay, cool, this is what the standard is. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs or businessmen, that they're documenting their journey a bit more, so you kind of know what you need to do to get there. But I definitely believe that the standard's being raised because the demand is higher, and everyone's just trying to get out of what you quote unquote call the rat race. I don't know if that makes sense. It's harder to survive. It's harder to survive off salary, if that makes sense.
It does. I was even thinking actually that given that a lot of people, in fact I'm probably going to echo what you just said, given that a lot of people document their journey, and given that we have a lot more information, I think we're in a great digital space and information age, that we now understand actually what it requires in order to be successful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to put in that work, then unfortunately you're not going to be able to reach your goals. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I think you gave a good example, or you said something earlier in regards to I think the analogy I think I'm looking for is, I think we all know a player, all right, or we might all know a player who you question, how did he get here? But actually this person was willing to put in the work,
100%.
the hard yards, after training, was vocal, etc., etc. Do you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. There's even like the idea that like
if you go there, if you say the word, I'm gonna come for you. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was going to mention Frank Lampard, all right, for a second. Actually.
Okay, nice, yeah. Cool.
Great example. Like, so I'm not saying he's a bad player whatsoever, but people often would criticise him or say things that actually
100%.
he's not a good player, etc., etc. And I think there's that famous clip of Harry Redknapp defending him.
Yes.
In that
the
press
interview
conference.
room, when he was young. Yeah, 100%.
Correct. Do you know what I mean? And I think Frank Lampard is a great example of someone who's prepared to put in the hard yards
100.
in training and after training in order to get to where he wanted to. Do you know what I mean? And I think the point I'm trying to make is very simply that I think now it's widely known that we all need to put in the work, not only in training or at work, but you need to be able to do the same thing after your 9 to 5 or after training. So it's not about your 9 to 5, it's what you're prepared to do, you know, in your 5 to 9.
Time,
Do you know what I mean?
100%. And I think because also because that conversation is really about that overnight success. And I've been pondering it for time, and oh my gosh. Now, I didn't take the conventional route, so I always say that I'm in a season, once I'm in a season, the Lord is always teaching me something about grace. And I'm like, this thing is not easy, because when I started this race, and I dropped out, it was, what's this guy going, like, what's he doing with life? I was now part of that percentage.
How old are you, by the way, at that point?
Not for the camera, though.
Okay. Then.
Not for the camera, though.
All right,
I tell you, but not for the camera, though.
All right, well, we're going to say he was 19 then, all right?
Okay, cool.
So the reason why I say I don't want to interrupt you is that, like, we have this assumption, so I'm 39, all right? And sometimes we have this assumption that when you're 39, when you're 40, that your life is done. Yeah. Mate, some people will tell you life begins at 40. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm starting to hear that a lot, yeah.
And the same thing in regards to 30, and the same thing in regards to that 19, that age that you don't want to say you were when you were at university.
Oh no, when I was at uni was that, that was 19.
So no, the reason why I'm saying that is because, like, sometimes we feel that we make decisions, and actually, if you make the decision not to continue with uni, that actually your life is over. There's no other route in order to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we can be prisoners of the moment. Do you know what I mean? Not understanding that you've this is all part of the journey.
Exactly. It's like a make or break decision, which is far from the case. Which even that stems from like exams and that. If you don't make this exam, then your life is over.
Yeah, it's not true.
But again, all of this is programming, isn't it? Or like society and what it does. But to kind of go back to what I was saying about the overnight success thing, is I didn't take the conventional route, but But I definitely believe that those that went to university per se, people from the outside would be like, okay, cool, he's doing this. There's a process to it.
Yeah, it is very subjective.
You have to know yourself.
Yeah, like what I might find really, really enjoyable, someone else might find, you know, boring. And that's another thing, do you know what I mean? Is back to even like knowing yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like on this journey of life, like you will understand that, again, it has peaks and troughs. And at some given point, at 18, you might feel you know yourself well. But then at 21, you might feel rare. Like,
100%.
You know, things have changed in regards to my perspective. Like, oh, a good example would be, my dad passed 6-7 months ago, and
recently.
Yeah, recently, and this moment in time, I feel like I don't even know what's going on in life. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's his life
even about?
Yeah, what's it about? Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, prior to that, I might have had stronger thoughts and feelings in regards to who I am. Do you know what I mean? You mentioned the Brentford thing earlier. At that given point where, like, I recommended you lot to go to Brentford and stuff like that, I went travelling. All right.
Yeah, you went to go enjoy it. Yeah, I know. Well,
so yeah.
You went to go surf the world,
there you go. So what I'm saying is that at that given point, 27, I think it was at the time, I can't remember what my thoughts and feelings were in regards to how well I knew myself. But when I went away, I realized, wow, I began to understand myself a lot more in terms of going South America, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Argentina.
I actually remember you documented things on Facebook.
Yeah, I did. Do you know what I mean? So like, I understood myself a lot more. Do you know what I mean? I came back and I became a totally different person. Do you know what I mean? And 5 years later, I did the same sort of thing, but I went somewhere else. I went Central America, and I had a greater understanding of who I was. And then I moved to Barcelona for a period of time, and you understand maybe a little bit more. And I guess what I'm saying is, like, there'll be periods within your life, like my life, do you know what I mean, between 27 and let's say even 33 or even 38 or even 39, where you understand yourself and then you lose a bit of sight of who you are, and then it takes something, maybe an event, for you to kind of get yourself back on track.